I'm going to just keep this straight to the point. Because certain people have had so long to put things right, and instead of stopping and correcting, because that is what they're paid to do, to serve us the people, instead more crimes against humanity. Now, last year, Ewan Morrison, the caseworker for my local MP, apologised to me for what I'd already been through. They haven't done what District Judge Harp said. I've had the lies from these corrupt solicitors, including a director. Even one of the paramedics that was here the other night. 2 male paramedics that were here, and it was the third lot of paramedics. They said, oh yes, the Eastbourners group, which I used to be part of that Facebook group, were aware of the illegal eviction scam in Bexhill, and that elderly woman, Marion, and I spoke to her neighbour, and what she said about Mr. Holden having 16 pages of corruption against him, including sexual harassment. Yes, it did the rounds, apparently, last year. Now, Ewan Morrison, my MP caseworker, had apologised to me, and then, yet again, the final nail in the coffin. Would you attend a voluntary interview? Beaten and assaulted by police, dragged out. Threat of prison because basically I won't call my sister a man. And we are supposed to have freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Well, and this goes to my partner and his friends who have abused me. One of them's supposed to be a lawyer. Do you really think that I want to take all of this to the most powerful man in the world, the President of the United States of America? Because that is where it's going. I am no longer safe. I love my partner, but where's his parents been throughout all of this? Where's his mother been? His mother said I could have a good life. I never saw them again. That was a decade ago. And all these things have been happening since I've been with my partner. I've got now crippling OCD. And crippling OCD because of all of this. My partner, the police said, where's my partner? I was sexually assaulted. He wasn't here. I mean, when I was on the first floor, just below this floor, he shouted at me, stormed out, swore. Then I was moved up a level. Oh yes, we'll put a fridge in your room, we'll do all this. And my partner shook hands with a hotel manager who had also been inappropriate, sexually harassed me. He was actually banking, this hotel manager was banking on my partner not coming back. He denied doing this to my cheek, sexually harassed me, and he even said while my partner was on the phone, because he assumed that my partner had sexually assaulted me, he said, well, he feels something. Oh, I see. Well, if you feel something, I should have said to him, if you feel something, then maybe you should sexually assault me as well, Mr. Manager, Mr. Hotel Manager. Now again, I don't know if it's because of his culture, how they view women. I don't know. One thing I do know, though, I was then abused by him and his member of staff who had kicked me and other Indigenous people out of this hotel for asylum seekers. And he said, yes, all about money. Now the law is not acting for me, whilst this landlady has breached an injunction order, been told by District Judge Harper that she could be sent to prison. I'm threatened with prison because I won't call my sister a man, and because I've shown her love. And I cannot operate in this toxic society anymore. And there are a lot of people in this town, even what happened up on Beachy Head with the Beachy Head chaplains and the pub where I've been going since the 80s and 90s and all of this. There are a lot of people in this town, and what I've just learnt about this doctor's surgery, I've recorded the conversation from a doctor's surgery out of town in Hailsham, and that's where my partner's parents live. I've learned something just as dystopian and Orwellian and disturbing. Pardon me. I never had this problem when I lived in Seaford. I'm 43. I'm going to be 44 in a couple of weeks' time. I didn't have this problem back then. But when I was 15, I had a lovely now retired doctor who was angry and said to me and my mother, "Why is no one helping her?" I had a locum say me and my transgender sister need trauma-based therapy, what the Vietnam War veterans had. And when my mother was dying of cancer in 2009, my mother would be 88 now. She cried for me because the social worker landlord creep was meant to be helping me. Yes. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't take drugs, I don't even take dangerous pharmaceuticals. And I've come this far. I put the CFO on notice. I did a proper common law notice. The Chief Financial Officer, whose name is Hamira Javadi, when my life was in danger. And still, Mr. Burundi, you're still not even doing what the law is telling you to do. And since then, I've had yet another crime against humanity. Section 135 of the Criminal Justice Act 1984, public servants torturing members of the public. I am your constituent, and you have still never explained yourself. But that's fine. I've given you so much time, Mr. Burundi, and you and Morrison. Twice now I've phoned the office. This was meant to be an emergency. No, you still haven't done anything, Ewan. So, you've given me no choice now. And I can't say what it is that I need to do because of all of this. But I'll tell you what. If I do seek asylum in the United States, not only would my late mother be proud of me and my grandmother who lived through 2 world wars, but I'll say this, because my mother told me right at the end of her life about her illegal abortion in Pennsylvania in 1958. The fact that I would be going over there because I can't, because of my opinions, because I won't call my sister a man, but I love her, right? Now I tell you what, because I've given my partner and his friend Charlie, I've had abuse from them, lies, just horrible texts. I've barely seen his friend Charlie. And all of this. Do you really think that I want to take this to the president? Do you really think that? Because I'm not safe. I'm not safe with this lunacy. And you know what? If you think that I'm surviving all of this completely on my own, this is the whole reason why we are heading towards a civil war in this country. I cannot operate in a toxic, narcissistic society. So you will lose your narcissistic supply, and you can fight and fight and fight, and you'll be like, "Where's Bryony? I miss Bryony. I wish I'd listened to her. I wish I'd treated her with more respect." It'll be too late. That's the whole reason why I need to get out of here, because America will welcome me with open arms, because these people think exactly like me. Well, the ones that are fighting for people like me. They think like me and my late mother. I'm going to wrap this up. You can ignore my text messages, Darren. You can ignore them. You can ignore my messages. I'll be there tomorrow. I'll be there tomorrow. You did that for months on end. I'm struggling. I'm struggling. I'll be there tomorrow. I know the game. I know the game. I love you, but I'm not here on this earth to be abused. It's disassociation that's got me through this. I was watching, and speaking of birthdays, I won't get anything from you anyway, will I? I mean, I've got a whole bag of gifts there that I keep showing the camera on my YouTube channel, and I've had them since 2024. And you scream and shout at me, and you leave me, and you preach to me. That's called religious abuse. I don't like the word religious as much as I don't like the word Christian or church, but that's religious abuse. I pray to Abba Yahweh, but it's still me that's getting me through this. No one else is doing anything. I've got the agony, the absolute agony. It's inner strength. Now that whole self-empowerment thing, yeah, we're not meant to do that. But I will tell you this, I will say this. And I know this is where the Bible is real, and this is where you have to be careful, but the self, I know we're not supposed to go to the self, but the fact of the matter is that I was a stronger person. Now obviously I've humbled myself, so I'm feeling raw pain, raw agony in spiritual warfare without the use of drugs and goodness knows what, that these nutters downstairs. God, there's some absolutely nasty pieces of work. But I'm only human at the end of the day, and when I show distress, the crimes and corruption by all these people, it's suddenly a breach of the peace, so you can't even cry, you can't even get upset. So I've still got bruises on my hands from the handcuffs you can't quite see, but it's difficult when you don't have a smartphone. But this landlady has stolen my valuables, which she's still got the camera, by the way, because I don't have a smartphone. Anyway, so yeah. I'm barely functioning. I've got this crippling OCD that I try to hide, and I try to be very careful with how I say things because it is extreme. It is what it is. It's just call a spade a spade. Now, my partner, I know he struggles, but with OCD and whatnot, and he's secretive, and men are secretive, and this is where I'm trying to get the balance right but I'm not Superwoman. It's not fair to leave me alone with all of this. And now with what I've just learned about the doctor's surgery, I was going to say, but I'm not going to say it. No. I'm going to leave it to the people that want to help people like me into asylum, into America for the persecution by their government. And in my case, it's my local government, Eastbourne. So like I said, you carry on. You carry on. Charlie, you can dish it out, but you can't take it. Don't tell me you love me and care about. What's this calling me a liar and a stupid idiot? Have I ever called you that? No. I actually got you. What did I give you? Not that I've ever had a birthday card from you, but I got you one of those funky pigeon moon pig cards a few years ago, and because I knew you liked trains, and I knew that you liked. This is before I knew about what politics was all about. I got the. It was something to do with the trains because you're a train person, and what's his name? Jeremy Corbyn. You're a train spotter. I put a lot of love and thought into things. I did it with Juliet before she died of cancer. She never thanked me for the gifts I made her. She never even mentioned them. I gave her the gifts, but she never even mentioned it. And she said, "Oh, Charlie's not sensitive at all." No. Well, people often say they're sensitive. What they mean is they get very aggressive and angry, get their own way. Well, like I've said before, I don't want to label people that I know as narcissists, but then don't show me that then. I fixed Eben's washing machine. Oh, she's a devout Christian, is she? She's also a lawyer. She should know better. My partner got me to stay in her flat. I fixed her washing machine. I cleaned out the filter, got it working. And I've had leaks and everything. So I had to mop up her floor, clean out all the crap inside. She had mold inside the washing machine drawer and she had stuff stuck inside the filter. So I had to, before she came back from Nigeria, her homeland, well, her original motherland, as it were, and left a card and flowers for her, cleaned everything up because I thought there's something not right about me staying in her flat. This is my partner's Christian friend. But this is where the council should have been helping me. Now, oh, she's not a trained lawyer in that area, but why dispose of my things? I couldn't listen to the voice message she left me, or the text message from my partner's strange friend Dermot. He's supposed to be some wacky sort of, well, evangelical Christian, but a lot of people call themselves Christians, but there's a lot of narcissistic abuse in all denominations. Oh, you're the one who brought Darren to the name of Yahweh. No, he's the one with the Hebrew Aramaic scriptures. I gave up all the pagan stuff. The way that Charlie has treated me, he might as well carry on with his Morris dancing, because I was getting abuse from both Darren and Charlie, and according to Terry, the old man, who is not Terry from that house share, by the way. He said they'd be doing a Bible study, and I went from crying to laughing when he said, "Do you think maybe they're gay?" You're talking about my partner here and his friend. But anyway, he had his own issues. But he's in a home now, and he's the man I phoned in that video where I'm saying the police are here. I think it's because I won't call my sister a man. That poor man is now in a home. We were threatened by Dr. Caro with police because I asked him to contact Ewan Morrison, the MP caseworker. This old man had reported me missing, and then 24 hours later this happened. Do you realise the damage? This is how people get cancer. This is how they get dementia. He was found wandering the streets. This old man said to Ewan Morrison, my MP caseworker, about democracy. He's in a home now. The social worker landlord who apparently died of cancer. I know I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at the evil because my mother was dying of cancer and he said to me, "You might want to check you haven't inherited cancer and you know too much." And my mother said, "He's supposed to be helping you." I couldn't tell her too much. And apparently he died of cancer, so he exploited a lot of people because these social workers, and I've recorded a social worker called Dale from Adult Social Care Connect, because Ewan Morrison told me to contact social services. The law is not acting for me. Yeah. So I cannot wait, because I say I cannot wait. I have to. I have no choice now but to present. And I'm being very careful what I say because I know that there are sickos out there. There's mental illness everywhere. That's why I need to leave this third world cesspit. Because I'm just not safe. I'm not safe. You're not going to bully me out of Eastbourne, no. What you've done to me is a form of human trafficking. What, locking me out of my supported flat on news my father had died? And then the police thugs beat me on Beachy Head, which they've done many times, and then forcing me into the car, dragging me along the pavement. Oh, they won't touch the criminals. Probably because they like their drugs. You know, the police are the worst criminals from what I've heard. And getting me to go into a car to, was it Susan's Road or Pevensey Road, shaken up, filthy, dirty. Yeah. The UK criminal justice system, the social services, what an eye-opener. If you read, well, you know, I left a voice message for Alan, but he doesn't seem to want to know. Alan is this guy who, he's got asthma right now, okay, I understand, but he said he loved me, Terry, as a person, as a friend, saying, you are a true lady. Yeah, well, that's thanks to my mother. Because he's got friends that are real lords and ladies. And he's the most well-connected person in Sussex. He knows the person who owns the Cuckmere Valley. They're Freemasons. He showed me in his Mercedes. Is it a Mercedes? He showed me a piece of paper with all the names of all these lords and ladies, because he wants to expose this satanic child abuse, pedophilia in his boys' school. That he's not sure about how to go about it. And his father was an interceptor, a high-ranking Freemason who had to stop Princess Margaret from marrying Peter Townsend. He showed me a picture. He showed me a picture on his phone, a black and white photograph of his father with Princess Margaret and this Peter Townsend. I don't know who this Peter Townsend is because I'm no good with this stuff. I know this and that. But anyway, so there we go. I can't talk to anyone though. You know, he said he didn't want to get involved. This Alan I've just mentioned, he didn't want to get involved with the police because he didn't want to become a target. There are no men and women then, are they? You know, don't say you love me. Don't say you love me at all, as a friend or otherwise. I don't care, you know. Then that's why it then makes me think there's something else. As in, it's not just the Bible. It's the Bible is true, yes. It is, of course it is. Otherwise I wouldn't, you know, I just would be like, oh, go away. Just, but you know, astrology is real as well. But that's not good for you. Speaking as someone who's gotten deeply, deeply, deeply rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole darkness, as Alan Horvath used to say. But the thing is, you know, look at how that caregiver treated me. And then from that, I got some weirdo in America just making dirty videos of harassing me. Oh, isn't it terrible how caregiver treated you? Yeah, that there are. You see, this is what I find so weird about YouTube is uh it is weird. I'm just not used to. It's a shock to the system. I'm an intelligent woman. Of course, I know there are nutters out there, but what I mean is, it never ceases to amaze me what people will say and do online or in person because I'm an authentic person. I'm a I'm an I think I would consider myself a super empath, but I'm definitely an empath. I'm definitely set apart. No doubt about that. but a set apart one. I prefer to use those words rather than chosen one because, well, there are people. I watched this. There's this woman who's got this YouTube channel, Yars Chosen. She's a black lady, um, and she's saying that that the chosen ones are black people. Well, what can I say? I've got no answer for that. So I like her content, but what it's kind of annoying that portrays she doesn't portray white people in any of her pictures or um, drawings, and she shows our savior as a black person, which is kind of weird. I mean, I know our savior didn't have blue eyes and fair hair, but they say it's more likely that he was dark skinned, not black, but dark skinned. So I don't know, but it's all weird, isn't it? I don't know what to believe anymore when it comes to things like that. But I just know that I just at the end of the day, look, I'm trying to be. I will all put it this way. I will always pray to Abba Yahweh. There's no going back. Okay, I went from God, which the God isn't a name, comes from Gott, the German word, yeah. And then I went to Jehovah's Witness because I had an ex-army Jehovah's Witness, and it was Darren again, my partner. We came on this journey together and we learnt stuff, and he said no, Jehovah means master of mischief. And I had crap all over the floor, and like the Green Man and all this horrible stuff that now makes me want to vomit because it's just so much evil, more evil and darker than I realised. When I heard about when John Wedger was showing this Green Man thing, that these Masonics, hardcore Satanists wear this pendant thing, this Green Man thing, uh, to take young men, boys, into the woods, strip them naked in a hunting party, then sodomize and possibly murder them as well, wearing the Green Man thing. And it's like, you know, like I said, I got it. My mother and I used to go to the medieval. My mother saw me as a Jane Austen lady. She almost also saw me as a medieval lady. I don't want to say too much because if I do get married, well, anyway, I don't want to say too much, but in case I did get married, let's not rule it out. Even if I am a spinster, I've got a bucket list of things. If I do carry on with my life, I've got some wonderful things to do, especially in honour of my mother. But anyway, the medieval festivals that we used to go to, I got to do the Anne Boleyn costume because that's something my mother was going to make. Jimmy Savile, I wrote to Jimmy Savile. Bronya got a reply from him, I didn't. She got a reply from him when I was 1 month old in 1982. We've all had a blessed escape. They tried to get me to go up on stage with Rolf Harris when I was about 10. I know, it's weird stuff, isn't it? Got all these anecdotes, Ingrid Pitt, who paid me a compliment, the Wicker Man, the pagan stuff. Mum did her scene with Sam Neill, who played the Antichrist president in the Omen 3. The Dark Lord was his name, Darth Vader. Dave Prowse used to ring me up. Mum was not happy about that. An old man that was older than her. My mother would be 88 now. Dave Prowse was older than her, and she was ringing me up. But I was like, oh, it's Darth Vader. Oh, did you know The Empire Strikes Back is on the TV right now? It's I used to go into this sort of airy fairy. I'm a disassociative person, but anyway. we're compatible because he's a Cancerian man. Yeah, like what, like Michael Flatley, my first kiss on the lips. Well, Adamant is a water sign as well, so this girl knows her astrology. Yeah, she's got her. I've got my own secret society going. Do you know, even when I was a child, I used to have some. I'm going off on a tangent here. I used to say, let's have our secret clubs, Max the Dog Club and Club Morristain. And I designed, I said to Heather's father was a mayor of East Croydon. I designed a club badge for us called the BH Club because I'm Bryony, she's Heather. And it's childish, sweet, innocent stuff, but I did our own sort of coat of arms emblem thing. It all comes from all that stuff, doesn't it, really? But anyway, what you live and learn. But I've also learned something about Donald Trump. Just put my mind at rest. I say I've learned something. I said I'd make this video fuck quick, but I haven't. There's a reason why I'm saying this. Bear with. I don't know why anyone would want to watch my videos. Some of what I say is fascinating. Depends on what you wanna. It is what it is. Um. Yeah. Well, anyway, I watched a Tommy Robinson video. I mean, there's. See, this is just it. I need to live in a society where I've got, we're supposed to have free speech, freedom of expression. It's all BS. We've got criminals running this country right now. Black belt barrister said we have free. You can we all have the right to offend and to be offended, and you can change being offended if you want to be offended or not. You can change that. It's not a crime because you can change it. I mean, are we able? Can you believe that we're even having this conversation? Oh, I was literally threatened with prison if I leave a card and flowers for my sister. I had these bruises on my body. They cut me. They dragged me out. This is the police. 5 days after I reported common assault. And every time I've reported a crime, because I will take the dictaphone with me to this place that I'm not going to say where it is, but the Americans are helping, Donald Trump is helping people like me. Anyway, so that's that. Anyway, so getting back to I mean I've said all these things many times. Tommy Robinson. I was watching Tommy Robinson, and he's in America right now, I think, and and uh, and he said he was saying that he used to think that the LGBT thing was fair enough, even though he's supposed to be a Christian, you know, you know, homosexual people should be able to marry each other and all of this sort of thing. Well, he needs to read the Bible then, because if he wants to follow our Savior Yeshua, and see what I mean? I'm scared in my own Christian country. I cannot even say what our Savior Yeshua said for fear of being arrested or persecuted. This is how insane it is. But I'll just allude to it. So Tommy Robinson has said in one of his YouTube videos, Tommy Robinson, that he was speaking to some Polish people, bearing in mind that Tommy Robinson was born the same year as me, 1982. And it's going to be my birthday in 11 days' time. And basically, excuse me, he was he said, what was the problem? The Poles had pulled down. He'd gone to Poland a few years back, and they'd torn down the LGBT flag. Now, there are people who say the LGBT flag is homophobic. All these stupid phobic words. Who gives a damn? I mean, really. Who cares about? Just live your life and get on with it. Everyone has the right to be offended. It's how you deal with it. It's called life, right? Whatevers. We all have the same freedoms, or we should, and we have the right to offend. We have freedoms, but they're taking away everything. So anyway, so the polls said this is, I think they said it's communism. Now, they're right, and I'll tell you why, because my mother and my late mother and I, we went to Poland in 1998. And when I was at the Shoreview Hotel, Pavel, I keep thinking of Pavlova. Pavel, who's Polish, I miss him because he seemed like a nice man. He said, he's a few years younger than me. He said to me, "When did you go to Poland?" And I said, 1998. And he said, "Oh, because that's when things were bad." I think he said he got stabbed by people he was trying to help around that time. No, not in 1998, because he's a few years younger than me. I was 16 in 1998, so he's a few years younger than me. He was a young man at the time. But he used to help out in a churchyard or something in Poland. Anyway, the point, I've just realised that this creep in this hotel said I look Polish. He asked me if I was Polish. There's a manager who's made inappropriate comments. I can't believe my partner shook his hand. I can, but I can't. I mean, it's a British thing to do. Oh, hello. Yes, you sexually harassed my partner. You made inappropriate comments after she was touched on the bottom. Yeah, yeah. Uh, he thought I was Polish. I'm going to sound like such a big head without actually saying it. Ingrid Pitt, who was in that terrifying horror film about satanic sacrifice, Ingrid Pitt, she paid me a huge compliment. She died a few months after my mother, and she was born about a week before my mother. She was on the cusp. Yes, I know, Abby, please forgive me. Talk about astrology. But my mother was impressed by that. My mother wasn't usually impressed by things, but when I told her that, she was, ooh, you know. um, I know that's going to sound big-headed, and I don't mean it to sound that way. She's the lady, the naked lady in the bath when the cop walks in. Edward Woodward, the virgin police officer who is sacrificed in The Wicker Man. Uh, yeah. Tell you what, if these dirty police thugs were to walk in on me. Anyway, it was the 1970s. Cops were cops back then. But anyway, even the Americans can see that. But anyway, oh, I've just learned something. The Miranda law is in America. The Miranda law, the Miranda rights is different to the caution. I thought it was the same. When you say you have the right to remain silent, anything you do say may be given in evidence, blah blah blah. In America, it's different because it's constitutional. It's called the Miranda rights. Here, it's called the caution. So, anyway, um, I've only just discovered that because someone said, "Oh, I've never seen a bailiff reading the Miranda rights." No, it's caution. The guy from LSB Films is saying the American one. Anyway, feels good really to know some things that other people don't know because I corrected Charlie Kurt. Charlie Kurt said Abba is Greek. It's not. It's Hebrew. It's Hebrew for father. The Greek word is something else. Anyway, Bryony knows a few things. So what was I saying? So like yeah, the LGBT flag, yeah, the it's communism because when the Poles are right because when my late mother and I went to Poland, I could say some things, but talking about offending people, I don't want to offend people. It's really bad, isn't it? It's really bad. You can't say. I tell you what, Roseanne Barr, she's one hell of a Scorpio too. How do I know? Because she shares a birthday with Adamant. Adamant wrote to me about his demons of mental illness when he made the Channel 4 documentary in 2003. I followed him. He was born on the 3rd of November. He was born on Roseanne Barr's second birthday. Yeah, he was born on the 3rd of November. They're fearless people, they are. Trust me, I know, because Mum's best friend was a Romany gypsy. She's a Romany gypsy Scorpio too, just like Adamant. Romany gypsy Scorpio too. Means you're born in the week 3rd to the 11th of November. But Roseanne Barr is a brave and fearless, but even she said she would not come to the UK. She'd be too frightened. So I tell you what, Roseanne Barr, you'll be proud of me. Because I'm telling you now. Now I find what she says about Utah and everything that Dr. William Schnoblam said about the Mormons and MK Ultra. It's fascinating because Charlie Kirk was murdered in Utah, where the Mormons, this Mormon LGBT young man, apparently murdered him. My partner showed me a video, and I find it hard to believe that it was staged. But well, well, it's like anyway. I'll get to this thing that was said about Donald Trump. So Tommy Robinson, he was saying about Poland being Poland being, excuse me, for the it's a communist country, right? And yeah, so it makes sense that the Polish tore down the LGBT flag because, and I have to say things with quotations because because I'm not safe in this country. That's the whole reason why I need to seek asylum in the US. So, yeah, I can't believe that I'm saying this. This is just so weird. It's clown world. So, I mean, what this doctor said to me about the doctor's surgery, I'm not going to say it in this video. Like I said, my partner's got some explaining to do because it's a town where his parents live. So, anyway, I'm going to come to that. So, my late mother and I went to, it's taking me ages to say it. We went to Auschwitz. Auschwitz, concentration camp. And horrific. Yeah, just well, they're actually I don't have words for it. Horrific doesn't, you know, there are no words. Just hell on earth. It's just unbelievable, unthinkable, evil, and there's just more to it because the guy I share a birthday with, one person that I share a birthday with. I mean, I was trying to find out all the people I share a birthday with. I know I share a birthday with Jerry Lewis. I've heard bad things, learned victims of his abuse, and that Baywatch babe that I share a birthday with. Yeah, and her name begins with BR. My eldest sister also shares a birthday with a Brooke Shields. Brooke, yeah. Well, I share a birthday with Joseph Mengels. Isn't that nice? Yeah, Dr. Death, who did unthinkable experiments on children, satanic, just evil, unthinkable. And God, I was in the old St Wilfrid's Hospice where my mother died. I went into the chapel. They had a little chapel. They've knocked it down now. They've got this other thing with these horrible Ella Williams. There are some freaky people in this town, I can tell you, that work for the, as that man from the library said, Illuminati by the sea. um, yeah, the chapel of rest where my mother died, it's literally round the corner from where my partner lives. They knocked it down. It's quite strange to think that my mother died just footsteps away from my partner's flat. So my partner could have been in his flat just a few footsteps away. My mother died. It's weird, that, isn't it? So in there was a chapel, and I'm not joking. It was to help a bereaved person, and I just couldn't believe what I was reading about bombs and nuclear war, and or just basically saying just be. I'm not joking. This was in the St Wilfrid's Chapel. They've knocked it down now, the whole building. It's just a block of flats. It said something about babies being pitchforked onto fires at Auschwitz. Now, I have since learned that the swastika is an occult symbol, and the Nazis did public ceremonies, occult ceremonies, with the swastika, because the swastika is an occult symbol. But they didn't tell us this at Auschwitz. They told us other things that make me want to vomit. I mean, I found it very creepy, the glass thing with all the shoes and the glasses, all the things they took. They took their teeth, they took like literally everything from these people. Everything. Oh, I mean, there are some people, my Jehovah Witness ex-army friend said that place should be knocked down. I'm in two minds about it. I mean, I don't know. They've left it in the safe. You're not supposed to touch anything. Someone had found like a coin or something, or a cigarette packet from the war, from the 1940s or something, on the ground. They took it home with them as a souvenir, and you're not meant to do that because it's part of the museum. Leave everything as you find it. Um, and yeah, that's the disgusting thing to do. That's theft, really, because they don't have to let us in there. You know that everything that you see is how it was left. It's a bit like Famagusta, the ghost town that was left with children's. I don't know if you can actually get in there, but the ghost town of Famagusta, we saw it from a boat in Cyprus, and everything has been left exactly how it was in 1974. There is toys and things still left in the street from 1974. It's a ghost town. But what I'm trying to say here is, um, I've gone off on one like I do, but I mean, Mum and I, we saw some funny. I say funny. I'd like to say certain things, but I might get arrested for offending Polish people. It's just so stupid. You can't say anything in this country. I want to take me to America and I can say these things. I'm ashamed of everyone in this country. Everyone's just so pathetic. You really are. It's your fault that you asked for it. My mother felt this way in the 1950s when she left. She didn't want to come back to this country. She said people don't do anything, they don't fight for anything, there's so much jealousy. In America, they high five you and they encourage you, but here it's like, yeah, you won't manage it. Oh, it's just jealousy and bitterness. My gosh, I've never known anything like this. But anyway, there are things I'd like to be able to say that only my mother and I could laugh about. There's only one Polish person I don't mind offending thus far, and that's that nasty, vile piece of work. That nurse, what's her name? Oh, I don't even want to say her name. In the psychiatric unit, Julia, is it? Vile. Absolutely vile. I mean, Pavel is lovely. I felt able to say these things to him. So, well, not the things that I don't feel I can say, but one thing I said, because there's a guy on YouTube a few years ago, an American guy living in Poland, and he actually said what me and my mum noticed is Polish people can come across as being rude. Not Pavel, because he's lovely, or was lovely. I don't know where he's gone now. But apart from this horrible creature in the psychiatric unit, they're and Pavel's lovely, but they come across as sort of miserable or rude. This American guy said this, and he was explaining why. Because my mum said, well, it's because it's a communist country, yeah, because the Nazis invaded Poland first, didn't they? And then England. I'm just thinking of what Basil Fawlty said. You know, when he did the. Oh, I can't do it, can I? Uh, um, goose stepping. Is that what they call it? Oh God. You know what? My mother had a baby gas mask. She used to go around. We used to go around the museums, and she showed me a baby's gas mask that had a doll inside it. She said, I had one of them. And then a few years later, she had a Mickey Mouse gas mask. I don't know if she had the American one with the Mickey Mouse ears. There is actually a gas mask that's got Mickey Mouse ears. Sounds creepy, even as a gas mask. The British ones, though, they were just different colours. So I should have said to her, Mum, did you actually have the one with the ears? That might just be an American version. It's very strange because there's me going to Disney World at 7. My mother was 7 when the war ended, and she had a Mickey Mouse gas mask. She was saw a Disney cartoon, and because she had a privileged upbringing, people didn't for her birthday, she got to see a Mickey Mouse cartoon, and only people with money, like, yeah, the privileged, because my mum went to an all girls school. Oh, yeah, earlier I was just thinking about how they got her to. She said they forced them to go swimming naked at 7. Swimming naked at 7. These things are coming back into my mind, and how embarrassed she was. I went naked on the beach till I was 6, and she felt bad about that. I was fine with that because I wanted to be like Adam and Eve, because that's how we're supposed to be. Until a child started laughing at me with her mother, and I suddenly felt ashamed. My childhood was wonderful. That's when I stopped being naked on the beach. But to force 7-year-olds to go swimming naked. Well, I know someone who went to Moira Girls' School in Eastbourne, and she was born in the late 50s, I think. And she's like me and my mother. She was playing with dolls till she was 14, which I think is lovely. And I think they traumatize children in the public schools. It is satanic because I think she said they forced her as an initiation when she was just little she was stripped naked and had a bucket of water thrown over her, and she had to go and sit on her bed. And that was a way of breaking the child. They cry, forget about it. Bye bye, mummy and daddy. That's it. Horrible. Of course, St. Trinian's isn't going to show you that, is it? Yeah, my mother had the straw hat and everything like in St. Trinian's. My mother was born in 1937. I'm totally going off on one again. If you don't want to listen to me, you don't have to. If you want to listen, it's up to you. It doesn't bother me one way or the other because I make these videos for my own therapy. I don't know. You've got to get it out there. I believe in putting things out into the universe. The truth. It's called the truth. So yeah, so communism, because Mum and I we went on a raft. I was so disappointed. I thought we were going white water rafting like we did in Yugoslavia, the former Yugoslavia. What it's now Serbia and Croatia, isn't it? No, we're just on this. Oh my gosh, there was no wildlife. There were no birds in the mountains either. There was a nun that made me think of, oh yeah, and of St. Bernard. And it made me think of The Sound of Music. There's a nun. We had sisters at our school, governors, wearing grey, but I'm talking about the black and white and the wimple, like it's on the we're down the what do you call it, the toboggan run. Yeah, I crashed into. I forgot how to use the brake, and I thought oh, it was terrifying. I crashed right into an old man who had a son on his lap, and he looked back at me. I was like, I'm so sorry. Of course, they probably didn't understand what I was saying because they were Polish. They just looked at me like this. I'm so sorry. But when we were on the raft, I think we were with some Brits and some one or two Germans, and we cheered. We went way, and the Poles on the other side just looked at us. We were going yeah, and they just looked at us like this, like a blank, ghostly stare, and we all went, "Ooh, oh, okay, fine." But like my mother said, it's a communist country. That's what you get. And this is what they want in this country. That is why when Tommy Robinson couldn't understand what, and the Poles, because they're intelligent, they've lived through torture. We are heading towards a civil war. You idiots in this country, in England, want communism. Now, I've got to be so careful what I say because this is really very scary. But someone, not me, someone else on YouTube said that it might have been Dr. William Snowblum actually, that I think it was him, that Islam is I think he said Islam is worse than communism. I think it was Dr. William Snowblum, because it's not a religion, it's an ideology and all the other stuff. Because religion, we all have a right to religion and not to impose it on others, but an ideology and communism is forced upon people. And that's why the Iranians, before the war in Iran has just broken out last month, they were saying that English people will be going over to Iran because Iran will be free from, they Iranians never wanted. It's the Iranian Republic that enforced the Islam thing on the people, but the people didn't want it. So this country is will be like what Iran was. This is what I don't even want to go. The weird thing is, I saw Not Without My Daughter, which was my mother's film, and I was too afraid to go to Iran. And I couldn't tell Amira, who's Iranian, this. It's like I'm bursting to say it, but I wanted to say to her, "Oh, I'm too afraid to go to your country because of that movie. You know, they do. I've heard. You know, they're doing. I don't even need to say it. It frightens me. Even though my grandmother, like Princess Charlotte, was related to Anne Boleyn, I've got a thing about that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So, I had a recurring nightmare last night. And yet, like, I think it was last year that I had a dream about meeting Donald Trump and that he was interested to listen to me. So I think that might have been some kind of one of those dreams where, there's a message in it, like a premonition-y type thing. But anyway, no, I've also heard that the UK is now the number one Islamic extremist state in Europe. Terrifying. So English people would be moving to Iran. I mean, if my mother knew what I'm gonna do tomorrow, I can't say what it is. Don't even feel that I can't trust my partner because of how he's treating me, how his friends have treated me. He was arrested in Eben's flat. So why would she treat me? Why would his friends then abuse me like this? Nothing makes any sense. But anyway, what I now need to do is the bravest thing ever. I can't say what it is. I really can't say what it is, but Mum would be so proud of me. Technically speaking, I should be out there, lying in a ditch, dead. I'm a rape victim. Oh, that's another thing. That's the other thing I was going to say. Tommy Robinson also said there's a video of him on YouTube where he's speaking to Russell Brand in America. I'd like to meet Graham Linehan as well, by the way. Not because of Father Ted. My mother and I used to watch Father Ted. I mean, we all like Graham Linehan, but you know, I'd like to personally speak to him about what's been done to me and to thank him because I've been so worried about my sister and my love for her turned into a threat of prison just randomly, like, they've been targeting me like this. And he said, he was the one who said about this poor girl. Well, no, it was more than one girl. There was a girl who died on the operating table and another one who had a sex change and self-harmed her. I've got to be careful what I say, but her body parts, so I can't say what it is. And they say that people who are the transgender thing are more likely to be suicidal or to actually, you know. Yeah, and my own sister was after my mother died, she was up on Beachy Head. She's very private, but like my partner, she won't use the words, but she was on Beachy Head for the dark reasons that I've been going up there. But I can't even go into the pub now. And I went in there with Mum and Bronya some years ago. That vile, nasty landlord of that pub. No. I was only in there the other night. They've tried to get me in prison over a welfare check on our world famous suicide spot, and now they've tried to get me in prison for refusing to call my sister a man. And yet this landlady, who's got a second home in Malta, has got my things. And I'm in a hotel that's been used for asylum seekers. There are homeless people in these hotels. I could be here forever talking about all of this. But yeah, so Tommy Robinson, I'm just going to finish on this note. Thank you, Tommy Robinson, for saying. I know I'm. This is so weird because where I went to the Truthers Conference with Mark Devlin, who exposed things about adamant. Oh, I'll tell you what, I was jealous of Georgina Bale. Georgina Bale and Adamant both commented on how tall I was. Well, when you're 6'7" and you're practically wearing nothing, that was in Camden at the Roundhouse. I was so jealous of the Georginas. I think I had a cousin called Georgina McCarthy. One of the McCarthys, I don't know. I don't even know my own. I barely knew my father. I was only 4 when my parents divorced. Violent divorce, that's trauma for you. But yeah, Georgina, I do remember the name Georgina in our family, but there were 2 Georginas on stage with Adamant. And it's like Snow White and Red Rose, the blonde haired one and the black haired one. And the funny thing is, when I was 14 and Michael Flatley gave me a kiss on the lips because Mum asked him to kiss me, I was so jealous of those 2 girls as well. They were only 16, they were a couple of years older than me, but one was blonde and one was black haired. It's weird, isn't it? Because Michael Flatley and Adamant, they've got these parallels. Both bare chested on stage wearing black leather pants, both of them. Well, Adamant did it in the 1980s and Michael Flatley did it in the 90s. The black leather pants and bare chest. They both got a blonde and a black haired girl on stage. Do you think is there something occult like in that? Because I had one of those 1960s Ladybird books called Red Rose, Snow White and Red Rose, and one had blonde hair and one had black hair. There's something in that. Anyway, yeah, interesting. Interesting. Gone off on another tangent. Well, anyway, yeah. So just to say, at the Truthers Conference, I'll just say Mark Devlin said things about Adamant. I know Adamant worship Baphomet. He wrote to me about his demons. Got the picture of him doing the Baphomet pose with the hands. It's on my Facebook wall somewhere. But anyway, I don't know. What was I going to say? And of course, at that Truthers Conference at Ashburnham Place in Battle, one of the speakers was a gentleman who's exposed the Freemasons and Sussex Police, because he used to be in Sussex Police, and he said to me, "The 77th Brigade are after you," because his nephew was found in the harbour with concrete tied to his legs. And he dated Patsy, the mother of children I played with, and I've got such happy memories that keep me going, thanks to Patsy. He met Ella Draper, the mother at the heart of the Hampstead satanic children school case. And because this involved people in positions of like ordinary people, teachers, police, Well, it's like the Wicker Man thing, isn't it? Just ordinary people doing unthinkable evil. It's not always high level Freemasons. It's anyway, who knows? Who knows? But anyway, at the end of the day, I don't know if it was at this particular Truthers Conference, but what I do know is that Mark Devlin showed a video um what's his name, Russell Brand, as Katy Perry's handler, with the thing that said obey, and he's been into everything that you can possibly imagine. You see him doing all the hand signs. I mean, when he was when I first saw him, I thought, who's this weirdo with back his hair is more of a mess than mine. On the Big Brother thing on in 2006, and he's talking about Hare Krishna. You know about the Beatles song Hare Krishna? Yeah, oh my Lord, people are like, you're not listening to this. You know, it's to get people singing, but they're singing to Hare Krishna, nothing to do with our Saviour. So he's been into everything, and you've seen him doing the what do you call it? The is it the 10-yard stare? There's a picture of Russell Brand like this. I can't do it, but it's called the Mark Devlin calls it the 10-yard stare or something. You know he was you know that he rang Andrew Sachs because I think Adamant, and when he was going out with, I don't know if he actually dated Georgina Bale. They were staying in the same hotel as me. I was chasing after him. Oh my god. There were some things going on. People were saying that Georgina Bale was going to be sacked because there were clashes with the support band. And by the way, the support band wore T-shirts that said "I Heart SATAM." Yeah, well, I didn't want to know because I was so programmed to support Adamant that he could do no wrong in my eyes. But anyway, getting back to what's his name, Russell Brand. Yeah, the picture of him doing, was it called the 1,000-mile start? The 1,000-yard stare. And that's something to do with the MK Ultra thing. But anyway, who knows? It's very difficult because people have said he does come across as controlled opposition. People have said he's a Mossad. No, no, he's an MI5 asset. So then, of course, I'm then saying this. I'm repeating this. Oh, he's an MI5 asset. Um, Definitely controlled opposition. But then Tommy Robinson, people will say, oh, he's a Mossad asset. That's it. They're saying that Russell Brand is a Mossad asset, and that Tommy Robinson is a. They're saying that Russell Brand, sorry, is a MI5 asset, which is the British English deep state, and that Tommy Robinson is a Mossad asset, which is Israel. And they said that about Uri Geller being a Mossad asset because he's Israeli, and my middle sister has got Uri Geller's mobile number. He uh, he phoned my mother just moments after she died, saying, "Can you put me through to my mother?" And Bronya said, "You're too late." So he said, "Look out for these signs: flashing lights and birds flying around the room." I've now had. I used to believe these things. Well, I don't know. He got Bronya's clock working when we did the power back in 2002. We went to the Congress Theatre to see Uri Geller in 2002. And he said, "Give me all your broken things. Work, work." Now, in 1993, I did the mind reading thing before the breaks, before the TV ads. I could see the pentagram of all things, the star, and I got it right. And also, we went at the youth club. We did this thing where you do this and you pick the chair. So it can, and it does work, by the way. There's something to do with the energy. And I have had flashing lights and had that poor little, the sparrow that flew in. I'll discount the seagulls. A little sparrow flew in, and I thought, is that my mum in that psychiatric hellhole? Because this vile little juvenile delinquent, well, I say she juvenile, she was 19, but everyone in there was demented, even the staff, that psychiatric hellhole. Oh, look, there's a bird. This was the what? This was the nasty piece of work that had assaulted me, and the staff decided to. Oh, she's everybody's little, golden treasure. Anyway, anyway. But I think Uri Geller, I think he's, even Grandma back in the 1970s, she had a spoon or something, or was it a fork? And she was rubbing it and it bent. Because Grandma was like, "Ooh, ooh." I mean, obviously, I can't do an impression of what Grandma did because this was before I was born. This was back in the 70s when he was first on the telly. But she managed to bend a spoon right back. So who knows? Not everybody can do it. So I don't know what this is all about, but there is an energy. He is best friends with Michael Jackson, and we spoke to him after his show. We were really into him. I think in our family we've dipped our toes in certain things. My mother's brother tried to give us some tarot cards, and I said, "What are these, Mummy?" And she was trying to hint at the fact that they weren't good. What are they? When you're young and innocent. Can't believe I had that grotesque dragon head thing above my bed. There's a lot of things you just don't question, do you? But it's like, the medieval fates that we went to, the Green Man. Oh my gosh. These horrific satanic things that, even just the fairy door thing. Oh, that's sweet, isn't that nice? Don't, and for goodness sake, don't put, oh, do not put cherubs and angels, because, oh, if you knew the history behind this stuff, it's nothing to do with the Bible. It's all pagan and nasty, evil stuff. But anyway, I just wanted to say that regardless of whether Tommy Robinson, I've been on here for 1 hour and 17 minutes now. Regardless of whether Tommy Robinson and um, what's his name, regardless of whether they are deep state assets for the UK and Israel, Tommy Robinson did say, look, those prostitutes that said those things about Donald Trump sexually assaulting them, it was all nonsense. You can't believe everything you read, because Russell Brand was saying people tried to say that I was a rapist and a paedophile or whatever. And you got to be so careful, because where there's truth, there are lies as well. In the truthers community, the enemy likes to mix it all much, or mix it all up and go poof. I reckon there are probably people who will have believed what the Herald said, and why wouldn't they? That I assaulted the police. They'd be pretty stupid if they did, but I couldn't, I mean, it's like Jack Honori. Is that my name? It's like, that's not me. It's like, you just can't believe what you're reading. But in this country, we've got innocent people in prison. There are people across the world that are in prison. Criminals are protected. The mafia is protected. Look at what they do to people. I mean, people go on about the craze. I mean, it's hard to be our beloved Barbara Windsor was married to one of the Crays, wasn't she? And they did. There's a woman from the funny community, related to John Patterson, let's just say, and she said something about the Crays. I can't even repeat it. I can't actually repeat it. But yes, it makes you. uh, and these people were idolized and they did gruesome, unthinkable things. So there's nothing new under the sun. No, Darren's right. My partner's right. There are a lot of innocent people in prison. The thing that is obviously bothering me is he's never said to me about screaming at me, to prosecute him in this evil landlady's house, and oh, you're talking as if I will go to prison. I've never said that. I was talking about Andy Canfield, the Lansdowne hotel manager, who I don't know, maybe oh God. Well, this is anyway. Maybe my partner is just scared because he's got OCD. So maybe he's obsessing now because I did once scream at him, I could prosecute you a few years ago, and I said it in a fit of rage. I didn't mean it. I mean, this is what happens when all the confusion, like, why did your mum say I could have a good life with you? Why did she say that I shouldn't have been released from the, scared the hell out of me. Sounds like a vixen or a fox screaming its head off. I've never heard it scream like that before. Um, what's I saying? Yeah, no, I mean, he said his mother said I should not have been released from the psychiatric unit until I got the help I needed. Well, what's that supposed to mean? But I've never seen his family. I mean, what's happened to this thing of the Abba Yahweh restores the years that the locusts have eaten. I've gone off on one here. The point that I'm just going to wrap this up. I've been libelled. If someone like me can be libelled, then the most famous man in the world right now, the President of the United States, the Daily Mirror, okay, red top or no red top. The point of the matter is, even if it was the Daily Mail coming out with this trash, whether it's real or not, you know, who knows anything? They said the thing that worried me because I googled Donald Trump and people accusing him of sexual, uh, well, a bit like this funny business. What's happened here? Well, it was quite alarming though because it said that his late wife said that he raped her, but she didn't report it as rape because she's his wife. Well, you know, it maybe in the old days it wasn't illegal, but it is illegal now to rape your spouse. Maybe in the Victorian times, men had a right to rape their wives in Western culture, but not anymore. But having said that, speaking as a rape victim, speaking as someone who's actually put someone in prison, and I'm not just talking about a pinch on the bottom for crying out loud. I'm talking about, I don't even want to use the language because it's too graphic. I don't want to use the legal language because it's still too graphic. But it was bad enough that I had to go to and I chose to, obviously, no one can force me, but I believe in getting justice. I said, let's just get this over with. Stick things where you've got to stick them, and let's just get this over with. They took swabs, DNA, sticking things where they need to stick it. I said, you keep the clothes, I don't want them back. Which was kind of annoying because I was really pleased that I'd found a tall pair of jeans in the charity shop for just a few quid, and now I was saying keep them. Yes. And to have people in the gallery looking at pictures of your private parts is mortifying. But let me tell you something, and the reason why I keep bringing it up, I didn't bring it up it took me to the Saturn Rape Victim Centre in Crawley. Saturn, Saturnalia, yes, they love their satanic names. Nimrod, there's a whole list of them. Well, let me tell you something. PC Dixon and the judge, they were all lovely. I got on done and dusted. But the reason why I keep saying this is because I mean it. What has traumatised me is what has been done to me since I've been with my partner in front of Darren. It's PC Mufali and PC Howard May, EB334. Because this has been going on for 10 years now. They grabbed me and exposed my breasts. This was 5 days after I had reported common assault. And these idiots that take drugs and do all these things are watching from their window along with Lilybank Homes. I mean, that woman in Wales saw that video. So, and do you know what? It wasn't even just the fact that they exposed my breasts and I was barely wearing anything. They dragged me out. I slipped on my bottom. I was bruised. My hair went down my throat. I could have choked and died. So they exposed my breasts and then they're doing that to me. And you know what? PC Mufali looked like he had a bit of tears in his eyes. So why are you going along? 'Cause you do not have to obey orders, but you did. You're going to be like PC Soper. Ignorance is bliss. Trying to get an innocent woman in prison over a welfare check on Beachy Head. Even the Free Speech Union has given the false advice of plead guilty. You never, ever, ever plead guilty. What kind of advice is that, Free Speech Union? So even the Free Speech Union is fucked. Kelly J. Keen's fucked. Sorry, Kelly J. Keen, I used to think you were a brave woman. You and that Irish woman and that funny woman that does the filming, that bullies in a playground. I'm not interested in joining a cult. I'd much rather meet Graham Linehan than be part of this. Oh, this is why I can't stand being around women. You know, the woman who helped nurse my mother, those lovely, lovely women at St Wilfrid's Hospice. The girl from my primary school. I said I have a problem with women, and she said, oh yes, women can be bitchy. Yes, yes they can. But unfortunately for me, she was a lovely woman, she got it. And this is why, and Kelly J. Keen, you proved it, it's playground behaviour. On the whole, I get on better with men. And men can be raped. Because Barbara Windsor, who was born in a Japanese concentration camp, I don't know if she's still alive, Barbara Coe from Littlington. She used to tutor me with maths and Kate and she yeah, Tenko, I think that's Tenko. My goddaughter would be 19 on the 17th of March, St Patrick's Day, one day after my birthday, and her mother Stacey in 1981 she met Stephanie Beacham. She played a teeny tiny newborn baby in Tenko. But she could have played the part of Barbara Coe, who was born in a Japanese concentration camp. And like she used to tutor me, and her sister was a counsellor, and she told me and Mum that she had counselled a male police officer who had been raped. So men can be raped as well. We found that quite shocking because we thought, didn't know a man could be raped. Even though my mother had an illegal abortion by a man selling his body to other men in New York in 1958, we were still shocked to hear that. So, yeah, but what the police have done to me, it's going on for years. And I've got crippling OCD and I should not be in a hotel and I've got a landlady in contempt of court. I'm just trying to, my partner's not helping me, nobody's helping me, but he shook hands with the creep in this hotel who made inappropriate comments to me, hoped my partner wouldn't come back to me. When he does finally get his arse down here, he's shaking hands with this creep. I thought it was bad enough that he shook hands with that boy, Councillor Stephen Holt, whose face was on a leaflet in a notoriously dangerous council hellhole, where the BBC later mentioned the mother and daughter who were taking cocaine and mugging the elderly when they were attacking me. But Eastbourne police were arresting me and trying to get me in prison over a welfare check on Beachy Head, and they libelled me in the Herald. The number of people I could have sued in Eastbourne is phenomenal, but I've given you every single chance to tell the truth. You're not going to bully me out of Eastbourne. I asked for help with something a child could have helped me with, and instead you chose to carry on, and on and on. Now you've committed so many crimes against humanity on me in my homeland that I feel the need to apply as a refugee in America. I'm extremely vulnerable. I'm a rape survivor, I'm a domestic abuse survivor, and I'm a survivor of what's going on in the UK right now. Because you're all screwed and you'll miss me. But I won't be your narcissistic supply. Just remember that. If I go, you're not gonna have anyone, because you'll all be fighting with each other, because that's what a civil war is. That's what this is all about. I cannot operate in a toxic society. Anyway, so regardless of whether Russell Brand and the MK Ultra and all of that, I do feel a little bit better hearing them say what they said about Donald Trump and these women that are saying, oh, he did this to me and he did that. Because regardless of whether it's true or not, I like what Donald Trump is doing for America because he needs to do it for us, and he thinks, and I like Katie, and Katie Hopkins likes him, so you know, and I'm going to do Katie Hopkins' impression of Donald Trump's impression of Sadiq Khan. He's a nasty man. My impression of Katie Hopkins' impression of Donald Trump's impression of Sadiq Khan. Oh no, sorry, no, it's not an impression of Sadiq Khan. No, she's just calling him a nasty man. There we go, 1 hour and 33 minutes of not BS, ranting, but telling the absolute bloody truth. I would say something about Maxwell Caulfield that I've learned. Shall I finish? Oh, I'll just add it on the end. I might as well. Let's make it to 1:35 minutes. Yes, well, I was watching Grease 2 the other night and I suddenly realised that actually I fancy him more than Adamant. I had him in my colourful video collection. I've also seen a very funny outtake from the movie that he's horrified by, of one of the extras is jumping over hurdles on the playing field, the school grounds, and someone has put it in slow motion, and you can see his kahunas like an elasticated, and the guy is not even wearing any pants, and his kahunas are good-doing, good-doing. It's so funny. I was almost in tears, crying with laughter. And yeah, I've just realised how much I fancy Maxwell Caulfield. He's gorgeous. But oh my gosh, he'd already been married to a woman 18 years older than him. That's like that young chap here in this hotel. He's come back here from Staffordshire. He's sending me text messages saying he fancies me. I'm saying I've got a partner, thank you very much. He's 18 years younger. I could be his mother. I don't like that. My father was 12 years younger than my mother. That was bad enough. But Maxwell Caulfield was married to he was married to Hayley Mill's sister. She's in her 80s now. Yeah, it's so weird, isn't it? She'd only be, what, a few years younger than my late mother. He was such a gorgeous man. I just suddenly realised how sexy he was. No, I had Grease too. In my video collection years ago, my VHS. I suddenly realised how gorgeous he was. You know how it is. You think, actually, I really, really fancy him. And I like, well, obviously my focus was on Adamant. I had literally a spell cast over me, let's face it. Idolatry. So any other man, obviously I fancied a lot of people from the 70s and 80s and even before that. But yeah, no, there we go. So I've also learned that Maxwell Caulfield, before he was hit the big time, well, actually, Grease 2 was a flop the year I was born. I think um, I think Michelle Pfeiffer was just heavily in the club. But I feel that poor man in the role he played, the way they treated him. I can relate to these characters a little bit. And I've only just realised that his character is meant to be like, it's meant to be like, what do you call it? Uh, 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 from Superman, Clark Kent. Don't take the mask off and the helmet, because then you'll see who he really is. Oh, is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a motorbike. Because there's that bit where he says, "Oh, have you ever read a Superman comic?" And she's being a horrible. But saying, yeah, no. Before he was in Grease too, he was in a nude show. Guess where? I cannot believe this. I fancy the pants off Maxwell Caulfield. He was in a nude show with what are they called? Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd. When he was 18, he was in a nude show at the Windmill in London. Well, guess what? I went for a job interview there in 2005, and my mother said to me at the time, she said, "Oh, that used to be the place where people went when." I said, "Oh, mother, I've had a job interview there." I mean, it's quite obvious what kind of a venue it is from the pictures. There are women's legs with money stuffed in the stockings. But in all my naivety, shall we say, my innocence as a 23-year-old, I'd seen the job advertised in London's Time Out magazine. Dancers wanted, no experience. Oh, yes, I want to be a dancer on stage. The the person who did the job interview, they said you'll be wearing underwear on stage. I'd be like, Well, I thought to myself, that's not too different to what I'm already doing at the Adamant conventions. Just wearing perhaps a little less than what I would. I said, but I wouldn't have to be naked or anything. Oh, yes, yes, eventually you'd have to, we'll start you off like that, but eventually you'll have to be naked. Oh, and I told my mother, and she said, she paused, she went, in her typical way. This is why she was chosen to do that scene with Sam Neill, by the way. Just do that thing, that eye rolling thing, sort of type thing. Oh, I'm sure you'll get used to it. Mother, why aren't you being protective of me? I wouldn't be naked on stage in front of a. I wouldn't do it in front of women, let alone men, really. But I think I was quite upset because I was looking for my mother to sort of say, "No, I don't want you doing that," um, but no, I was a good girl. I mean, I deliberately dressed like a bad girl to see how it, like, because I had a dressing up box as a child. It was fun to dress up as a tart. It's like acting. It's not real. It's just a bit of fun. It's not real. I would never. I wore the black leather and the black whip, tried to look as outrageous as possible. But one man at the Adamant convention said to me, "You're not fooling anybody. You're too nice. You're too nice." But anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in because, oh, that was interesting. The fact that Maxwell Caulfield was naked on stage at the windmill, and I went for a job interview there, and I think he's so gorgeous, but I think he looks good for his age now. I find it really strange though that, and I don't mean this to sound nasty, and perhaps this, I don't mean this to sound offensive. I just can't understand why he would marry a woman who's 18 years older. I wouldn't want to be with an older woman if I was a man. It's meant to be the other way round. And I wouldn't want to be with a man that's younger than me. If I was a man, I wouldn't want to be with an older woman. As an older woman, I wouldn't want to be with a younger man. Because I'd feel like a cradle snatcher. I know it's not about that though. It's about a maturity. A lot of younger men are more mature than me. But I know I can't. I know I say sexist things. I say, oh, there are no men anymore. My mother was engaged several times in America at a time when dating a lot of people, it was part of the culture. You called it going steady if it was serious. And I love the fact that every time, Bronya and I, like, Back to the Future, I suppose when we watch Lorraine McFly, Marty's mother, I don't know about Bronya, but I think of Mum because she would be the same age as Mum now. She'd be 88 because Mum was 18 in 1956. Rock and roll had just come out. Elvis Presley, she was like, oh my gosh, she'd never seen a man, wiggle his hips like that. She just moved to America. The fashion was better, everything was bigger and better. She remembers the old jukebox, you know, American diners. I miss the little chef, I can tell you that. I just want to say this. We're talking about Poland earlier. Polish houses are like American houses. My dream house was one of those big American houses. Poland is like Ireland. They've got a lot of um, I know it's pagan. It's Ishtar. It's and it's divination. It's praying to the dead. It's demonic. I know because I used to be Catholic, but Poland is Catholic. Like they've got these grottos. We had them at my Catholic primary school, the one of St Mary, the grotto. We used to climb on it as children, and the teachers would say, "Get off there," as if it was a holy thing. The Holy Stone of Clonrickard. The Holy Stone of Clonrickard. It's the same thing, isn't it? Kissing the Blarney Stone. It's pagan nonsense. It's a deity. Um, they've got those things, those Mary grottos in Poland and Ireland, and but as both Ireland and Poland are kind of backward. You go to those countries and you feel like they're not quite with the times, but those beautiful big houses, cabins with the swinging, like Little House on the Prairie, eat your heart out. I mean, obviously the first settlers were mostly, I think they were Dutch, but they were from all over Europe. Wow. In Poland, they've got those big cabin houses, and you go, that's in the countryside. It's like Little House on the Prairie, and of course, they've got wild bears. But when we went up into the mountains, the needles on the pine needles were coming off like it's like what do you call it, acid rain. There are no birds. It's supposed to be a country that's lush with wildlife. Like in America, they've got bears. And, well, in this country, we used to have wild wolves. Can you believe that? We used to have wild wolves in this country. Wolves. Can't say it properly. Wolves. And, yeah. You're driving through an urban area and their houses look American. They might as well have stars and stripes flags, and they've got basketball nets. Like those houses, those American houses with the white slats, and and they'll have a basketball net outside, and you're like, I feel like I'm in America. This is Poland, a communist country it's a communist country. People aren't smiling or anything, and yet it's like driving through America. So I reckon the Americans got their house ideas. I said this to Mum. I said, I reckon they've got their. This is back in 1998 when I was 16 when we went to Poland. So I said, this must be where the Americans, because I love a big American houses with the porches and the swinging beds. The people who have big American houses. They had that in the countryside, and it really was like Little House on the Prairie. Strange that such a little country has got all of that. But yeah, they have to insulate the houses. Because when the snow comes, they get thick snowdrifts in Poland. So we went in the summer when uh, there's no ventilation, and I can't finish that sentence because it will sound rude. But anyway, I'm going to finish it here. I've gone off on one. If you don't like what you hear, you don't like what you hear. If you find it boring, I feel much better when I've had a rant. So there we go. Communism, the rainbow flag, and the is yeah. It's very interesting. So it all goes back to when we went there, and this where communism comes from and what's going on in this country. Because Poland, you've got it right. They're the only country in Europe that won't accept illegal immigrants, and well done to them, and well done Japan. Keep it just for yourselves. I remember, I will just say this because I like to say funny stuff. At the airport, when Mum and I were leaving the airport in Poland, I can't remember which airport it was, but the security said, "You have a gun in your suitcase." Mum and I looked at each other. He said it's come up on the scanner that you've got a gun in your suitcase. A gun? Looked at each other and then we went, oh yes. I had bought a lighter for my sister because she smokes. I wouldn't buy something like that now. But I don't actually, because I don't believe in buying that sort of. I can't actually believe I did buy that for her. But I used to like these novelty things. It's a gun that actually I think Del Boy had a pistol that did that, and he went, "Oh yeah, yeah, like this." And then he got something else out of our suitcase, and he said, "The Madonna and Child." It sounds like something out of Hello Hello. And Mum panicked because there's a story behind this Madonna and Child picture that we got in Poland, and it's something to do with, obviously, I this is all idolatry anyway. It's got nothing to do with our Saviour Yeshua. The girl who gave birth to our Saviour's, her name was Miriam. She's just an ordinary person. You do not idolize these people. It's divination. They're just dead people. You don't pray to dead people because that's demonic. It's divination, right? Familiar spirits. So when you contact a dead loved one, you're not contacting your loved one, okay? The dead are not conscious. This is what you need to know. So it's all idolatry anyway, but Mum had got this thing, and the security guards sort of, my mother was worried that he might not want this article to leave the country because it's an antique and it's got something to do with churches in Poland that were destroyed. I want to know, does this have something to do with the picture above my mother's bed? She had a picture above her bed, my mother did, of Our Lady, Fatima, St. Mary again, as I've just said. If my mother was alive, I'd tell her this. These apparently St. Mary appeared to 3 children. What was that all about? That's nothing to do with Poland, is it? And they're kneeling before her like this. Well, we now know that that wouldn't be the girl who gave birth to Yeshua. I've gone off on one and I'm going to leave it at that because I've gone on and on and on and I'm tired and it's really late now. But I just find all of this stuff really fascinating either way. You live and learn. When you look things up, when you learn things. And I do sometimes check to see if the father of the famous person was in the military. Yes. Mark Devlin's not wrong about this stuff. I think Maxwell Caulfield's father was ex-military. Oh, I've just discovered. I was watching. I know that astrology is the occult. My mother used to say Brian is the person to go to for astrology. My mother would have been exactly twice the age of Britney Spears on the 2nd of December. I like Britney Spears. To a degree, I do. You know, the torture, the MK Ultra stuff and all of that. Yeah, so my mother would have been 88, twice the age of Britney Spears on the 2nd of December. Britney Spears was 44 on the 2nd of December. I'm going to be 44 soon, so I'm going to be the age that my mother was when she had me. Yeah. So yeah, I feel emotional when I look at Britney Spears because obviously because of the occult astrology thing, I think of my mother. And I know I shouldn't do that. I really should not do that. I can't look at Madonna at all. Ugh, what that woman has. Ooh. I mean, she makes it so obvious what she's doing. She shares a birthday with my middle sister. It's all to do with the horrible, sick cult stuff. It's horrible. It's horrible. But yeah, those two, they kissed each other on the lips. Because I remember thinking, oh, Britney Spears shares a birthday with Mum, and Madonna shares a birthday with my sister. Anyway, there we go. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff. But anyway, what was I saying? So I've gone off on one. Could I cope with being a refugee in America? Well, when I won the best dressed or best undressed person, I say undressed and person in New York. Yeah, I won this thing that won it. A signed thing from Adamant. It was a disaster, but at least I came back with that. To walk through the streets of New York wearing six-inch platforms, stocking suspenders, a bra, chain bra, hot pants, walking through Manhattan and was it Central London as well? I remember there was an old man in a limousine. I was going like this, but that's not when I was dressed like that. But if I can do that, oh yes, and to stand on a rooftop like that, we could have gone through the roof. I don't know if you think it's safe to walk on a rooftop like that, especially in 7-inch platforms. I could see the Chrysler building. But the thing is, I feel safer in New York than I do in London, and I think even my mother would agree with that. And of course, this comes after the fact that her friend who married into the mafia, by the way, she's Italian American. She used to keep a gun beside her bed. She used to get the weirdos with the guns on the subway, and my mother used to get the flashers. That's why Bronya and I think that Mum is like the women, the female cops in Cagney and Lacey, you know, where the flasher goes like that. And Mum, you know, they both go, "That's my mum," you know. And that's the look that she was asked to give Sam Neill in Wimbledon, like give him a disapproving look. That's not how you behave in business class. And her friend Anne, the one who used to get people on the subway with guns, and she slept with a gun. But I wouldn't feel safe with a gun in my home. Oof. But, you know, she's brave and fearless, Italian American. She married into the mafia, for crying out loud. I can't believe that. But Anne, they used her workplace for Cadillac Man. She worked for Jaguar. She gave me her card. She said, if you ever go to a gig in America, give them my card. And I thought, why. She gave me her Jaguar. She had a Cadillac, a 1989 Cadillac, and yeah, she got to be in Cadillac. No, sorry, they used her workplace for Cadillac Man. Sorry, and she got to meet Robin Williams, and I was like, this is nine. So this was what 1988 or 89. We went to America. We went over to see her in 1989. And I loved Robin Williams as a child. I was like, you got to meet him? Yeah, he had blue eyes and he used to go off on one, and he's exactly how you see in real life. And but she didn't want to be in the movie. I mean, can you imagine? One of Hollywood's biggest actors in the 1980s uses your workplace for a movie. Do you want a part in it? No, thanks. What? I don't know. But there we go. She never heard of Adamant, and Adamant's big in America. Adamant nearly married Jamie Lee Curtis. So when I told her that I was coming over to New York, that because I wanted to give her some of the clutter that Bronya had dumped on me, because we never went through things that we were meant to go through. Oh, honey, I can't, Ray Ellen's cancer's come back. Maybe some other time. So she talks coffee. I remember when you were just a little girl, she's got that Brooklyn accent. Coffee. Hot dog. Hot dog. So, very husky voice. Oh yeah, she wasn't afraid to say anything. When she came over to England, can you clean the table? Americans might be seen as Mum used to say she might be seen as rude in England because she'd say, "Give me a coffee." No, there's no please thank you like me how I do. Oh please, tripping over my words because I'm so anxious. Oh yes, please, sorry. You know, like in National Lampoon's Vacation when they come over here and they don't know how to use a roundabout, and what's his name? What's his name from Monty Python? What's his name? He's so apologetic because they've crashed into his car and he's being English, and so he's got all these cuts and bruises and his legs hanging off, and it's like, oh no, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. That's what I'm like. I said to Anne some years ago, I want to be like you. Give me a coffee. No, I wouldn't do that. I would waiter. No, I wouldn't do that. Excuse me. I'd be in a queue and I'd let people push in front of me. In fact, I actually did that in McDonald's in Eastbourne. My childhood best friend's 8th birthday party when there was a pirate ship, and she said, Bryony, I watched you and you just let everyone push in front of you, then you had to go and sit somewhere else on your own. We were just about becoming best friends around this time. She felt very protective of me, my childhood best friend. So I think people get scared because now they see more, that there is a side to me it's more frustration now. When you've been crying out for help with hoarding and clutter, everything I'm saying is honest goodness. So there we go. I've been talking for just over 2 hours, and It's what it is, isn't it? I'm going to leave it at that. Hoarding and clutter, they make programs about it in America. It's undiagnosed OCD. The elderly couple at the food bank diagnosed it. They even said to me, do you reckon, because they're from London, they said, do you think maybe it's a postcode lottery? Eastbourne is full of so much bullshit. You know, Darren is from Surrey, like my late mother. He's had a similar upbringing, in very middle class. He's got blue blood in him. His mother was related to the last Earl to be hanged with gold thread. Freemasonry on his grandfather's side, and I have to be careful what I say because I've said it before, but we're talking about child abuse thing that's come out. I can't really talk about it, but because that wouldn't be fair to, because his mother's still here, so I say things about my mother that perhaps I shouldn't say, but I'm only saying it because she's not here, and because of this is a time of revelation, So if we are living in the end times, but it's like, and I have to be careful what I say. There's a thing of, well, Darren, actually, are you telling me the truth? Because why all this stuff? Why would you all just leave me like say all this stuff and then leave me? And then I'm accused of lying, and these nutters. Are you a schizophrenic? I've lived in a place with these nutters. When my mother was dying, I mean, there I was. I just can't believe it. Anyway, Darren's had a similar upbringing. He went to a grammar school like my eldest sister. He's from Surrey like my mother. And 10 years ago, we were talking to homeworks. And we said, do you do advocacy? They said, no. Well, why is it on your leaflet? So they took it off the leaflet. I'm not joking. And this is exactly what Ray Savage was saying. All the support services are not fit for purpose. This is what I'm saying. I could have got a child to help me. This is all by design in Eastbourne. There are a lot of paranoid people up to no good, criminals in positions of power, running the lunatics running the asylums. Look at what they did to John Alexander Patterson. Eastbourne police were out of their jurisdiction. And where is it? The Royal Courts of Justice or Scotland Yard? They drag him in a blue lights flashing light in a police van with blue lights flashing all the way from London to Eastbourne to shove him in a psychiatric unit. Are you having a laugh? No, because this man was exposing fraud, theft, money laundering, and baby organ harvesting on the NHS. And Ray Savage said it's really quite simple. Nothing's fit for purpose. The support services, the social, it's all BS. So I've been talking for over 2 hours. I'm allowed to have my little rants. It makes me feel better. Oh yeah, that was another thing I found out yet. So I was watching Mr. Bean a little while ago. Of course, I've watched this stuff, the buggery. Pardon my language. I've watched this stuff since I was a child. I'm 43. It suddenly occurred to me, I thought, I was watching not the 9 o'clock news earlier. I thought, when was Rowan Atkinson born? I thought, well, I know he's a Capricorn, January, 6th of January 1955. And then I saw Angus Deaton and thought, I think his birthday's in January. How old is he? Well, it turns out he's the 6th of January. I just thought it was interesting. Rowan Atkinson was no, sorry, Angus Deaton was born on Rowan Atkinson's first birthday, and Adam Ant was born on Roseanne Barr's second birthday. So I like stuff like that. I said to Darren, "Did you know that your sister was born on the same day, same year as this man that I met in one of these council hellholes?" He has a daughter born on the 28th of February 1983, like your sister Carla. I was born in 1982. And I said he used to go to the pub with Nicholas Lyndhurst, and he was a bit of a plonker, and he used to he really did smoke funny stuff. Say, "Oh, Nick," because he used to knock drinks over and stuff. And I said to this guy, "Oh, my father used to serve David Jason. He was a London bus driver and booking clerk." I said, "That's strange, isn't it?" "Yeah." Because of course it's one of my favourite comedies. I know the first 3 series off by heart. Oh, just like One Foot in the Grave and Basil Fawlty. And I met Mrs. Warboys on the Underground with my sister. Oh, it when you want to say something really impressive and you end up sounding just naff. "Oh, I thought you were hilarious." Of all the things I could have said. One thing you don't want to do is make yourself sound stupid in front of someone that you genuinely admire. You don't want to sound like a fan or a fanatic or just some. Anyway, I've had a rant over 2 hours about famous people, satanic stuff, pagan stuff, the fact that it's a very small world, corruption, the hell I'm going through. I've covered everything. And what Tommy Robinson said about the communism in Poland, which you're already aware of, and they are already intelligent people because they've been tortured, so they knew what the LGBT flag was all about. That's why they tore it down. There you go. Intelligent people because they've already been tortured, and they won't allow illegal immigrants in. They won't have the LGBT flag. That they've had their time. They were tortured and murdered in the most horrific ways in concentration camps. So, do they want this to go through the same thing again? No. So that's why they've gone and done that. I have to be so careful. Anyway, Abby Aqua, it's very frightening what's going on out there.